It is mid-July. The temperature is cresting 95 degrees, and the air in the warehouse is completely still. Historically, a chance to grab a bottle of water in the middle of a shift like this was often treated as a workplace perk rather than a requirement. For decades, federal heat protection relied on the General Duty Clause, a vague requirement for employers to provide a safe workplace. Because it lacked specific temperature limits or mandatory break schedules, enforcement was often inconsistent and left workers vulnerable. In 2026, the Department of Labor and its safety agency, OSHA, are replacing that ambiguity with a massive regulatory framework. These specific new rules impose clear, non-negotiable requirements for heat safety across every major industry. To back this up, OSHA has updated its National Emphasis Program. This authorizes federal inspectors to prioritize and aggressively audit workplaces during the hottest months, focusing on high-risk sites where heat hazards are most likely to occur. Under these new rules, shade and rest are strictly enforced federal mandates. Companies that fail to provide them face immediate and severe financial penalties. It's easy to assume these regulations only apply to roofing crews or farming operations. Many people believe federal heat rules stay strictly outdoors. The 2026 standard extends deep indoors to bakeries, manufacturing plants, and shipping warehouses, any environment where heavy machinery creates dangerous ambient heat. There's also a common mistake regarding hydration. Simply providing a cooler of ice water is no longer sufficient to comply with federal law. Employers must now develop a written Heat Injury and Illness Prevention Plan, or HIP. This document acts as a playbook for identifying hazards, training staff, and coordinating emergency responses. When the heat index hits 80 degrees, the law mandates shade access and 4 to 6 ounces of water every 15 to 20 minutes. Surging past the high heat threshold, employers must enforce 15-minute paid rest breaks every 2 hours. By setting specific temperature triggers, OSHA has turned heat protection into a quantifiable mathematical formula. There is an old workplace culture that says new employees should just push through the heat until their bodies adapt. Medical data shows that unacclimatized workers, those who haven't yet adjusted to high temperatures, face the highest risk of sudden heat-related fatalities during their first few days on a job. The new acclimatization rule requires a 5 to 7 day adaptation period for new or returning staff, gradually ramping up physical exertion to a full workload. During this transition window, workers must be paired with trained supervisors who provide close observation for early signs of heat strain. This responsibility also extends to isolated employees. Simply checking a radio at the end of a shift is no longer acceptable for people working in remote agriculture sites or shipyard sections. The 2026 rules mandate frequent, timed check-ins or the use of automated monitoring systems for any employee working out of direct visual contact. Every employer is now legally responsible for the localized physiological adaptation and constant physical monitoring of every individual on the clock. This standard forces a permanent shift in industrial operations. Heat hazard management is now a year-round, proactive compliance priority for every employer. Compliance is proven through records. Companies must maintain physical documentation of environmental monitoring, their specific rest schedules, and the logs showing that every new hire completed their acclimatization period. If a surprise NEP audit reveals these HIIP records are missing, the resulting fines and potential operational shutdowns can be devastating for a business. This shift gives workers clear, undeniable federal metrics to use when demanding rights on the job. The 2026 standard establishes heat relief as an absolute, measurable legal right for the American workforce. It is mid-July. The temperature is cresting 95 degrees, and the air in the warehouse is completely still. Historically, a chance to grab a bottle of water in the middle of a shift like this was often treated as a workplace perk rather than a requirement. For decades, federal heat protection